So, Conspiracy Broadcasting Network, it's this nonstop, persistent. I just watched one of my clips talking to the sheriff, actually not the sheriff, but the supervisor, and acknowledging permissive neglect. Is exactly what this is, permissive neglect. So this is my second vlog for the day, actually. And I went out to just drop off in the mail some fundraiser money that I had raised for NAMI, National Allegiance of Mental Illness. So I had raised money last year, and I'm going to open up another tournament. And I had some issues with the check format. Finally got to putting in an envelope, and I'm driving to the USPS. And so this is what that was. Just going to drive and get that deposited in the mail. Okay. So immediately you'll notice that if they're still hitting me with frequency, so they know I'm getting ready to drive off. If you just watch this, they're using the frequency, and that's they're going to come through every 2 seconds. They're going to have something pass by every 2 seconds. So we got 1, 35 or something like that. Right? 2. There you go. You see how they use that frequency? This is what I'm talking about. So I'm just sitting there. I already know and had already assumed that something was going to pass by. And I was curious just to see. And sure enough, you've seen there was no color coordination in this case. It was merely they just changed up the frequency. Again, this is permissive neglect by police. Okay? I've got a conversation I'm going to make sure I post. You're going to see here that it's the white truck. Immediately I come through and they want to show me the white truck. And it's going to be like that all the way to the point on which I get to the post office. Okay. And so what they'll do is they'll use little type of maneuvers, and they'll cross in front of you like this right here. You see this right here, this skit right here? Same thing. So they're still abusing you. And if you go report it, it's permissive neglect by every police department, by anybody and everybody. Permissive neglect, because they feel powerless and they have to have power for some reason. They don't like the fact that I'm living a life countering what they prefer me to live. For some reason, they feel inclined to alter my life. Okay. So they're using this as a weapon, essentially, because they feel powerless. And then for them to feel powerful, they have to incorporate thousands of people in order to sabotage and subvert you at all times. Okay. So I'm getting ready to stop right here. And I've got an issue with my right side view mirror because it was, for some reason, it was hit. I have no clue why. I don't know how close I was to my personal vehicle during the altercation with the police. But I do know that my right view mirror is basically it needs to be calibrated basically. So it clicked over to the past the point of electrical calibration. So I had to go in there and just kind of manual move it. Anywho, I get back and we're going through it, right? They wait for me. I get back in the vehicle, fix that. And of course, what do they have waiting for me? The whole white SUV game, right? Literally came and have a discussion with the sergeant about this. And you're going to hear what he has to say. It's going to be permissive neglect, just like when you say it all the time with anybody else. It's permissive neglect at all times. Everywhere you go, it's permissive neglect. Okay. So I just fixed. And what they're doing is, for some reason, they're trying to press me. They're trying to press you psychologically here. Right? You just fix something. Of course, you fix something. So now, you're all happy. You kind of just fix that. Okay, whatever. And you got all these, the whole time you got all these white marks all over the right side of your vehicle. Okay. I'll show you pictures of that. But anyways, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on the update today. I'm just going to throw this up there to show you that this is the bullshit that I'm talking about. And then they have these red vehicles doing the same thing. And it's permissive neglect. Is what they have you always ambushed, right? And the other thing, if you pay attention here, I came up to this intersection. Okay. I stopped. They knew I stopped. They knew I seen the intersection. What did they do? This is how the abuse works, right? They feel powerless, and so they have to always be orchestrating some type of abuse at all times. Otherwise, if they don't, you're living this life that is, I guess, more powerful or uneasy for them. So they feel they're powerless. They've got to use these tactics. So you go in there, you visualize the intersection all clear. We fix it. And what they do is here at this stage of the game, they know I'm kind of looking and everything. And what they did was they staged a return intercept. So you get back on the road and there you go. You see. So this is what I'm talking about. You arrive, no one here. You return, everybody here. And they do this inside. This is exactly how great this is exactly what I'm talking about. And what they do is they try to create this visual field of overwhelming. Again, they feel powerless that you are living a normal life, or at least a life that you'd like to live. And since they feel powerless and that's not what they want, okay, they have to inundate you with this abuse. So again, completely devoid, okay, devoid of anybody. When you come back, everybody. It's the same way in Walmart when they abuse you with the credit cards, the days preceding that arrest, right? The days preceding that arrest, I was telling you about the credit card abuse. They'd have a third party remotely freeze my card during a purchase, knowing that I'm going to call Navy Federal and we're going to have issues because I'm going to be reporting the abuse. And I have to talk in front of everybody and deal with this abuse. And what happens is you go in there and there's only like 4 open kiosks, but the whole bay has other kiosks and there's other people at those busy with the clerks, the Walmart clerks. And so what happens is those people are still moving through and those other 4 kiosks, they're still open. And you didn't see anyone walk over there, but all of a sudden 2 to 3 minutes within your conversation of talking to NFCU, feeling punked because your card's not working and you know they're punking you, okay? And you turn down and you're talking, you look back up, all of a sudden what they do, they have a whole crowd of people shower the entire bay, take up all of the kiosks, and then have a whole line waiting, okay, behind you of 5 or more people, okay? And then make it feel like it's a setting of humility. Like we're waiting on you. We're waiting on you. And this is exactly what they did right here. I knew I had to orchestrate this fixture because somebody knocked it. And I don't know if it was the police or what. I know one dent was from the police for sure. But the fact that there's white marks, that's somebody taking vehicle door or something of white nature and then hitting my vehicle. And we're going to look into that. So anyways, no one at the intersection. I come back, everyone at the intersection. Okay. See that? And they waited. And they know the movements you're doing before because this is a very calculated campaign. And then they come and hit you with this. And they're trying to amp you up. Again, they feel powerless for some reason. They feel powerless. For some reason, this is why this is happening. Doesn't matter if it's for good or evil or whatever their perception of anything is. The only reason why anybody would use these type of antics is because they physically and mentally feel powerless. So then they have the red vehicle campaign hit you again. And this red vehicle campaign was what initially was the campaign of abuse when I was going to school in Ohio. And so the Red Vehicle campaign and the Red Vehicle Parade has been an ongoing deal for years. Okay. And so they make sure to keep that driven in front of you at all times along the way. This is another red vehicle. It's just maroon, kind of burgundy. It's hard to see. And so they just make sure they make these passes by you. And so the Red Vehicle campaign, it hasn't stopped. That's been going on for years. And what they do is they have the white trucks in the patterns again. Red Vehicle campaign, white truck, okay, red car, follow me. So you see I turned on one intersection and now we're following red cars the whole time. And long story short, look at me, I'm a red vehicle. And this stuff goes on even when you're working. And when you're riding on an ambulance, they'll abuse you, okay, with these on the scene. And so anyways, I'm getting inside here, and you'll notice that I park here, of course. And when I get out, they do the white truck thing again. So it's like I kind of always park outside, and they make sure to park right there so you see it, and then when I turn. And so basically, they make you hyper focused now. And the other piece of this whole arrest is that because it's gone on, it just stigmatizes the actual abuse even more. It just makes it more irritable because of the fact that the police is using permissive neglect in order to enhance and keep this essentially weaponizing the there's your coordinated driving. So they don't like something. Usually when they feel powerless, the more powerless they feel, the harder they'll do this. You see, I just came from arrest, and they're all about continuing to amp and run. See how they're everywhere you go, the semantics and the parade and the orchestrate of the abuse is just like 2 or 3 notches higher. Okay. So leading up to that arrest, it was kind of low. Now for some reason, I dropped out of school because I've got freaking basically acute dementia from the taser. And now here's this orchestration of their driving and all this stuff. It's all amped up like 2 or 3 notches for some reason. I don't know why. But what this also does is they're trying to emphasize that they can do what they want to. They feel powerless. They feel they have more power. And so this is how they throw on an exhibition of intimidation and power, okay, by orchestrating choreographed driving patterns. And then you have this actually was parked there during the red light the whole time, okay? So when I came to this light right here, all right, and they drove in like that, what you don't see is the white SUV parked beside me. So what they're trying to do now is they're trying to use that white SUV, okay, that you can't, I should have just turned it. Really, I should have just turned it to the left. I realized that my cam can actually pivot and turn 360. Well, at least 360 and no more because it'll turn the cable. But they had this white SUV pull up beside me to the left. And then what they did was they choreographed this to amp up the abuse. Like, look at us, we're going to intimidate you. Again, they feel powerless. They know that police are going to use permissive neglect, and they're going to get away with the things that they get away with. And then they wonder why there's consequences. They wonder why. And this is the type of terrorism that you're going through. You're going through literally terrorism. It's this inhumane terrorism. And the police are going to use permissive neglect. And I just wanted to show that. Same thing. You're coming down here now. And that white SUV was parked beside you, right? And they did their little choreograph. Okay, they did a little choreography, and the white SUVs parked there. You're going to go now, and then up ahead, they got the white SUVs parked in the intersections right there. 2 of them right there on the right. And then it's just nonstop, right? Anyways, I'm going to get off of that. But so after all of this, right, this is just to go drop off a check that I did a fundraiser for. I then go into town. I'm doing notes, starting to collect all of my case information. I've got case numbers all over the place from police reports ever since I moved here. I've had police reports before I moved here talking about this harassment. I've got police reports over in other states. I've got city reports for different cities. Long story short, I've got all of this permissive neglect going on by these police officers. So I go check on some reports because I want to be able to have some defense. And I go in town and I go to one department and one police station, and I ask them for my stuff, and they said I got to go to records in headquarters. So I go over into headquarters. They say that they don't have it. The ladies at one station says they have it. Headquarters say they don't have it. And then I start inquiring about dates and getting a little bit more in scrutinizing. They still don't have it. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, I know there's something there, but that's fine. I said, I'm not going to pay $10 for this. Just you telling me verbally that something isn't there when I know it is. When I know that there's a report and there's a case report, I know it. And you're telling me, you are telling me that there isn't, something's not right. That's enough, because I know it's harassment. And that's the problem, is they want to go through and harass you while you're going through the steps. It's just like the law. They want to go through and harass you while you're going through the steps. Same thing. So I get home, pop open my investigation book and my evidence book. This is my evidence investigation book, by the way. It's pretty thick, right? Open up to some of my dates, and sure enough, look what we have here. Lo and behold, right? I've got more. Got more than this. I got plenty more. Here's our case information cards. And guess what? Those dates were there. Okay? Those dates were there, the ones that I asked about. So then I have to call her back. Well, look, I've got the cards tangibly right here. How could you not have it? How could you not? Talking to the clerk, the record clerk at the headquarters, police headquarters. And then all of a sudden, by 5 more minutes in, I have it. And they waited for me to drive all the way back home for that. They waited for me to drive all the way back home. Okay. For that. To say that they have it. The whole time you've got these vehicles driving around you incessantly. Okay. Incessantly driving around you. Can't make it up. Okay. This is my evidence book full of police reports. I've got a ticket from a police department stating that if I use 911, I would get I would get misuse. Okay, I would get misuse. A misuse ticket. Okay, permissive neglect. It's terrorism, is what it is. Terrorism. So now we're going to have to go through this whole process. Okay, this whole process of going to court and doing all this other stuff and living life. I had to go through terrorism. Okay, terrorism.